the quest continues. So last time I looked at the cottagecore aesthetic, the dark academia aesthetic, and the arto aesthetic. In this video, I'll be testing the boho aesthetic, the VSCO-girl aesthetic, and finally the 90s grunge aesthetic. So let's get to it. This was a bit more difficult to find very specific information on, basically because it's an older aesthetic. It's been done in many different ways. It's not as new and specific. But in an InStyle article, a stylist mentions vintage elements, a lot of hand-knitted crochet macrame elements, and fringes, natural materials, tribal motifs, floppy hats, as well as just leaving your hair loose and natural. I have this vest. I'm not sure if it's too on the nose in terms of boho with the macrame and everything. Macrame? Not sure. I have this hat that I'm going to use with this. This is the same one that I used for the cottagecore, but without the ribbon. I'll be using these sandals. And finally, I have this caftan that I made several years ago. So for both the boho and the VSCO-girl, I'll be going for a fairly natural look, but try to get a sort of sun-kissed look, which is not something that I have naturally at this point, unfortunately, even though it's the middle of summer. So I'll try to glow it up a bit. Ooh, that's a bit too much. I think that is sufficient. So I'm gonna go in with some highlighter just to get a more glowy look, blush, and a little bit of highlight. Yeah, give that a try. I always feel like when I feel like I've done a lot, it's not really a lot, but that's because the starting point is quite sparse. I think that should be it. I'm going to do some eye makeup, just a bit of mascara, and just go in with just a muted eyeshadow. Now for the clothes. So here's my interpretation of the boho style. I feel like you could definitely do boho in not a summery look. I don't really have a lot of clothes in that aesthetic for the colder seasons, because this aesthetic is very summery. It's very like free-flowing, very light fabrics, and very airy, and that's great now, but not in Norway in like January. So the VSCO-girl aesthetic emerged in the late 2010s, and it was a result of a photo editing app with the same name that apparently this aesthetic emerged from. And according to The Guardian, this aesthetic portrays a wealthy girl who is eco-friendly and laid back, very beach ready and youthful, which sounds exactly like me. What characterizes this aesthetic is oversized t-shirts, Birkenstocks, a lot of scrunchies, something called a Hydro Flask that I think is a specific thing, Carmex Lip Balm, which is very specific, and a brand of backpacks called Fjällräven, which is the same one that was mentioned in the Artho video that I used there. And in terms of hair and makeup, the messy bun, but also the kind of half up, half down look. I think Ariana Grande in terms of hair, maybe. And Emma Chamberlain, she's been named the VSCO-girl in the past. Now for the VSCO-girl look, I'll be using a slightly oversized t-shirt. I have a scrunchie with a kind of bright summery color. I could not find sports socks, which may sound weird, but my local store just didn't have any. So I have these banana socks, a pair of high-waisted shorts, the Birkenstocks. I'm not sure if this really fits the aesthetic. I couldn't find a shell necklace. So I'm gonna try to use this. It's not like the correct one. I'll keep the makeup, I think, but I am going to do my hair in like a half up, half down look. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but that was in one of the photos that I found. Combine that with the outfit and then we'll see. Okay, so this is it. Now again, this is a nice style for summer. It's a good example of one of the looks that I sort of feel too old to go for. I like the shorts, I like the t-shirt. It's just overall maybe a bit cutesy. I'm not sure if it's meant to be cutesy, but that's how I've ended up looking. So for 90s grunge, I sort of remember it, even though I was very young at the time. But according to Beardy.com, the term grunge is closely connected to the music movement of the 90s, with Nirvana, Pearl Jam as big examples of this. And Kurt Cobain was sort of the poster boy for the grunge aesthetic in the 90s. The grunge aesthetic is characterized by a lot of like loose-fitting clothes, flannels, shredded denim, combat boots, and also to a certain extent Converse. A lot of like distressed knitwear and small sunglasses, which was a thing in the 90s in general. The point with this aesthetic is sort of to not look too put together. And in terms of the 90s aspect, I also found this picture of Jennifer Aniston on a set where she has the plaited hair and the back to front cap. And I want to merge this with a more grungy look. For this one, I'll be using this cap backwards, this plaid shirt, a regular gray t-shirt, and these worn and torn jeans. The 90s had a grunge look that was in part quite neutral in terms of makeup and such, but it could also be a bit harder on the makeup. So I am going to go for the harder makeup look, but a fairly chill outfit look. Ooh, that's a more dramatic wing that I wanted. I'm gonna go quite hard with my brown eyeshadow around this to sort of smoke it out a bit. Looks like I have a black eye. Oh well. I feel like the lower liner helped, so I think I'm gonna try this and just, I don't feel like it's necessarily 100% accurate. I feel like I should have had more in terms of like a black or red, dark red, but. Now in terms of the hair, I think I'm just going to go with one braid on each side. Okay, so this is the look in terms of the makeup and accessories. I tried to make a choker just out of some ribbon that I had because I didn't really have a black choker. So I'm going to combine this with the clothes, and then we'll see how we like this afterwards. It's a very comfortable style. It's not very me though, but it is kind of fun. But here it is. What do you guys think? So that concludes part 2 of this aesthetics quest. I think all of these aesthetics have their merits, but I think out of these 3, I probably feel more at home in the boho aesthetic, I think. I'm not that rebellious, I think maybe that's it. I'm just not that rebellious. So in the next video, I will be attempting the twee aesthetic, the soft girl aesthetic, and the quiet luxury or stealth wealth aesthetic. So I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.